pirates, summon the heroic spirit Drake at the beginning. Author, like the wind. Page 131. This call is the last time I have a call with you. Don't call me again in the future. I think you should know that running away is of no use to our world government. If you can take your own lives, it will be the last time you have contributed to the world government. Kaka. Spandam still wanted to talk, but the sound of the phone bug being hung up came from their opposite side. It's over. Spandam's microphone slipped from his hands, and the whole person seemed to have lost his bones, paralyzed on the floor, with snot and tears hanging all over Spandam's face. At the same time, Khalifa, who was secretly standing outside Spandam's room, leaned against the wall weakly. She was worried about that fellow Spandam, so when Spandam ran to the room, she followed him quietly. When she heard that Spandam slandered herself and the other 9 agents to the world government, Khalifa almost couldn't help rushing in to deal with Spandam. Although she had already guessed that the world government might not let go of herself who brought the information, but when she heard that the world government wanted to get rid of her, Khalifa still couldn't bear it and despaired. Obviously I have worked very hard to complete the task. Why did I become like this? Khalifa thought desperately. Because she has worked for the world government for many years, Khalifa knows how easy it would be for the world government to get rid of her. Now Khalifa is completely unaware that what to do next. Looking at Spandam, who was lying on the floor and crying like a child, Khalifa slammed her mouth. You disgusting guy. After that, you should experience the feeling of being chased and killed by the world government. Seeing the disgusting Spandam, Khalifa, who felt powerless after hearing that the world government was going to take action against her, also lost the mood to teach Spandam a lesson. After all, she also knew that even if she didn't do anything to Spandam, the world government will not let him go. In this case, let him experience the feeling of being chased and killed by the world government, which will make Khalifa feel more happy. Khalifa hurriedly ran towards Nine's companions. At this moment, she just wanted to tell her companions quickly, and let them know the news that the world government was about to attack them. After all, we have worked together for a long time, and Khalifa doesn't want anything to happen to Cuckoo and the others. Unfortunately, Bruno went to the large army that came to encircle Drake pirates, and now he cannot be notified. Otherwise, with his ability, maybe we can really avoid being caught by the world government. Khalifa thought to herself. Although he knew that the world government possessed a very powerful strength and intelligence system, Khalifa didn't want to be caught by them without doing anything. Although the probability is low, she still hopes to save her life. In a sea area not far from Duel Island, more than a dozen huge warships, densely packed soldiers, are waiting for the upcoming battle with the Drake pirates. The faces of the lieutenant generals on their respective warships were even more denied. They knew a lot more about Ziyun and his group than ordinary soldiers, but the more they knew, the more serious they were about the upcoming battle, especially the Ying squirrels who fought against the Drake pirates. Although the current height has exceeded the configuration of the Demon Slayer Order, and there are even naval heroes, Garp, former Navy Admiral Zephyr, General Yellow Ape and Top Zero Master. But he was still a little uneasy about the impending GHT. After all, according to the information, there are some newcomers in Ziyun's group, and those newcomers obviously have good combat power. Even Musashi, who has already appeared, has shown the strength of a top swordsman, which the Navy and world government did not expect before. At the forefront of the 8, Garp and other navies and the strongest combat power of the world government stand on a warship. At this moment, they are waiting for the news of the 2 Top Zero agents who are going to Duel Island RST. Haven't you come back yet? Zephyr looked solemnly at another Top Zero agent on the ship. You know their strength very well, and they haven't sent any news back yet. Is there any problem? Gong glanced at Zephyr indifferently. Don't worry. The strength of the 2 of them is definitely not weaker than your admiral. Even if they don't come back now, it can only show that Ziyun still has some strength. But this is just adding some time, and they will complete their mission and come back in a short time. It's terrible. Pelusilino looked at Agent Zero with a strange expression. A few random people can be compared to the Admiral of the Navy. The world government is really powerful. 116. Ziyuan, is this the attitude you should have towards the world government? The agent said to Pelusilino in a cold tone. Oh, it's terrible. Pelusilino raised his hands and said. Page 132. Okay, Huang Yuan, don't cause trouble at this time. Zephyr looked at Pelusilino unhappily. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. Pelusilino shook his head. However, although the 2 Zero agents are really strong, but they went so directly, to be honest, I don't think they can win. Let's make a plan for both. Yellow Monkey, you bastard. Hearing Pelusilino's words, the agent walked towards Pelusilino unhappily. Okay, you two, now is not the time for ... Garp said between Pelusilino and Agent Zero. It's not unreasonable for the Yellow Monkey to say that. He once fought with me against the Drake pirates. He is fully understanding Ziyun and his party. That's the only way to say that. HMPH. It's just that the Yellow Ape is too weak. Although he has some means, but he will be locked up by Heilashi. He must be too content in his natural fruit ability to be caught by them. the agent said disdainfully. After finishing speaking, the agent turned to Gup. You, too, have been defeated by the Drake pirates twice in a row. It seems that people who are known as naval heroes are nothing more than that, or you are too old to walk. Enough, lackey of the world government. Zephyr looked at Agent Zero unhappily and shouted, even if you are strong, don't think that you can defeat us. None of us here can be defeated by you. Instead of provoking our navy here, let's prepare for the next battle. Zephyr is usually very displeased with some behaviors of the world government, and now he is sent to encircle and suppress the Drake pirates because the Tanlong was killed by Ziyun, which made him feel more emotional towards the world government. Although it was also the Navy's idea to encircle and suppress the Drake pirates, the world government claimed that it was for the dignity of the Tanlong people, which made Zephyr very unhappy. Now when Agent Zero provokes Kizaru and Carp again, Zephyr yelled at Agent Zero. Well, although I usually have some disagreements with Teacher Zephyr, but this time it's rare, and I agree with Teacher Zephyr. Huang Yuan shook his head and said, Okay, everyone calm down, haha. Garp laughed and tried to smooth things over. We are partners who want to GHT together. Now, don't make the relationship so rigid. Cut. Seeing that there are 3 senior actors on the Navy's side, and 2 people on his own side, have left temporarily because they are going to deal with Ziyun, so Worker 3 doesn't plan to provoke them anymore. When I get back from this mission, I'm sure the government will trouble you. The agent thought viciously. Since he became the top agent of Zero through the ability of his Phantom Beast Fruit Ice Lion Fruit, no one has dared to talk to him like this. At this moment, Teji bears a grudge against Peluslino and the others, thinking that he must teach them a lesson when he goes back. Just as this Zero was thinking, an air door suddenly opened above the warship. Agent Zero, who had a keen sense, turned his attention to this air door. Just as Garp and the others were on guard against this, Bruno jumped out of the warship from the vent with 2 Zero agents exuding a more intense black-purple light. At this moment, the 2 Zero agents who were poisoned by semi-enemies have completely lost their normal skin, and their whole bodies have turned black and purple, and even large wounds have exploded on many places on their bodies. Blood in the black is constantly owing out from inside. The blood dripping on the deck of the ship made the overtime smoke rise even more. 2 seniors, seeing the 2 miserable people, their Zero agent who stayed on the boat shouted, Doctor, come out quickly, and heal them for me. Hearing Agent Zero's voice, the ship's doctor hurried over, intending to treat the 2 injured agents. Senior, are you all right? Don't worry, the doctor will treat you right away. Although the Zero agent who stayed on the ship was extremely shocked by how his 2 powerful Zero generations would become like this, he temporarily suppressed his doubts and planned to wait for the doctor to treat them before asking them what would become like this and the specie circumstances of their GHT with Ziyun. Although he heard the words from behind asking him, the injured agent was completely incapable of answering at this moment. The physical pain has completely deprived them of their ability to speak, and the only sound that comes out of their mouths is a painful wail. They didn't expect that when they rushed here, the poison on their bodies would become heavier and heavier. If it weren't for their strong will to survive, they might have fallen into the sea halfway. Seeing the 2 Zero agents howling in pain on the deck, Garp and Zephyr frowned deeply. Although they haven't seen these 2 special tools attack in person, they all keenly feel that their strength is definitely not weak. But now a person with such strength as the owner can only howl on the ground in pain, which shocked Garp and Zephyr. Page 133. Especially Garp. He was fought against the Drake pirates, and he has never seen such black and purple abilities in the Drake pirates before. Maybe it's the ability of the terrifying newcomer of the Drake pirates. Cap shook his head thinking. Soon, the doctor on board came to the 2 injured agents. Both of sirs. Don't worry, we will treat you right away. After speaking, the doctor stretched out his hand and grabbed Agent Zero who was lying on their deck. What? Puff. As soon as the doctor touched the black and purple palm of an agent, he howled instantly, spat out a mouthful of blood and fell on the deck, and he lost his breath in a blink of an eye. Seeing the doctor who died like this, the other doctors on board retreated a few steps in a row. Looking in panic at the 2 Zero agents who fell to the ground and howled, they were already dead. They didn't expect to kill one of their doctors just by touching it, without even finding out what was going on. Now, they don't know whether they should continue to treat the 2 Zero agents. 117. 118. This is seeing that the body on the ground also began to emit a purple-black halo. The dead ship doctor, Garp and others on the ship were all surprised. Especially the 2 poisoned Zero agents were even more surprised. They thought they would be able to get medical treatment quickly when they came to this ship. But what they didn't expect was that just contacting them would cost the life of the ship doctor. Seeing this situation, they began to panic slowly, and lost confidence in whether the ship's doctor could treat the purple-black light that made them feel so painful. What's the matter with you? Quickly treat them for me. Seeing the rest of the ship's doctors standing back and cowering, only the uninjured Zero agent remained and shouted at them. Do you want to disobey orders? Although he was also surprised that a doctor died just by contact, but seeing his two seniors getting weaker and weaker on the ship, he couldn't care less. He just wanted to treat the two seniors as soon as possible. Wait. Garp walked up to Agent Zero, who fell on the ground. Let me try RST. After finishing speaking, Garp's hand condensed the armed domineering look and grabbed their purple-black arm of an agent. After catching him, Garp frowned deeply, and then let go of Agent Zero's arm. What's going on, Cap? Seeing Garp frowning, Zephyr asked quickly. Very strong erosive power. Garp stared at the purple-black light on his black arm that did not belong to him. It was contaminated after touching the Zero agent on the deck. As soon as I touched it, they invaded my body. If it wasn't for the domineering armed color in my hand, these purple-black things might have entered my body now. Watching the purple-black halo slowly dissipate on his hand, Garp said seriously. However, it seems that armed domineering can counteract this thing, so you can still defend yourself if you are prepared. However, how to treat these two guys? Having said that, Cap shook his head. The ship doctor on the ship is not very powerful, but there is no way to treat them with these purple-black things. What a powerful erosion ability, the junior agent said dissatisfiedly, and the random arm turned into a sharp claw covered with ice, and stretched out to the Zero special on the deck. Soon, he also felt the feeling of being invaded by purple-black light. Page 134. On the transparent crampons, a purple-black light began to slowly appear. The senior agent let go, the injured ice dispersed, and the purple-black light dissipated in their air along with the ice. The younger generation frowned earnestly. I don't care what method you use, right now. Here. The agent turned and looked at the ship doctor earnestly and said, for him, if the two seniors died like this, not only would the mission assigned to them by their world government, but also let them be in front of the high-level navy. This is not what he wanted. Due to the fate of Agent Zero, the ship doctors had no choice but to step forward, preparing to treat the two screaming Agent Zero. Puff. While the doctor was carefully examining the two injured agents, the two Zero agents suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Soon, the breath of the two Zero agents who came here with strong support weakened. Before everyone on the boat had time to react, the two agents took their last breath. How is this possible? The remaining Zero top agents pushed away the ship doctor who stood in front of him, and reached out to press the necks of the two lifeless agents. However, no matter how he felt, he couldn't feel the pulse of the two agents. The worker stood up gloomily, looked at Bruno who was standing sternly aside. Now, tell me what happened to them. Hearing Agent Zero's cold tone, Bruno took a deep breath and began to talk about what he saw. At the same time, Ziyan brought Semiramis back to the castle. Ha 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 ha. How about it, dear friend? My king's treasure is quite useful. Seeing Ziyan coming back, Gilgamesh lay on a chair, looked at Ziyan and said, even in the castle, Gilgamesh and other companions saw the golden air ripples that Ziyan summoned during the battle with Og just now. Not only that, everyone on this island saw the golden weapons ying all over the sky. There were even bold reporters who heard the big news and went to take pictures not far from the place where Ziyan and Agent Zero fought. Of course, Jill, your king's treasure is too omnipotent to a certain extent. Ziyan shook his head. I feel like I can switch to a remote career. That's not okay, Cloud. Artoria said solemnly. I only specialize in long-range abilities. If someone gets close to me one day, I will suffer a lot. Hey, as long as you have this king's treasure, there is no possibility of being approached. Gilgamesh raised his head and said, I'm just talking. Ziyan nodded at Artoria. Anyway, I have obtained the Sword of Oath of Victory. If I don't study swordsmanship well, it will also make me feel sorry for this sword, and it will make me feel sorry for Yulia. In this case, I will practice your sword skills in the future, Yun. The corners of Artoria's mouth curled up, revealing a nice smile. And me. Musashi quickly raised his hand. I will also help Yun. In terms of swordsmanship, I still have a lot of insight. Ziyan smiled. From now on, please be merciful to your subordinates. Regarding swordsmanship, in terms of aspects, I still know very little, especially the basic aspects. By the way, everyone, I want to tell you one thing. This time, Semiramis and I have resolved the two main combat forces sent to encircle our world government, and under such circumstances, it is very likely that the Navy and the world government will give up this operation. This is not what I want, so I want you, Drake, to bring some companions and leave this island. RST, and I'm staying here with new friends like Semiramis, Gilgamesh, and Rhea. That way, the Navy and world government guys will nightly see this as an opportunity to get rid of me. That way those guys will nightly come. Ziyan couldn't help laughing when he thought of the scene where people from the Navy and the world government took an opportunity to attack him, but was severely taught by himself, Gilgamesh and others. You also know that I have established a spiritual transfer position in the Sky Garden of Semiramis. Later, we can also join you through this position. Page 135. Since it is your decision, then I will do as you wish. Derek smiled and said, Yun, please let me stay with you. Yuan Lagwang didn't want to be separated from Ziyan, so he said hastily, King, Please let me stay by your side too. Scheherazade said the same. Seeing Minamoto Reimitsu and Scheherazade, Ziyun scratched his head, and Nali agreed to their request. As for the other companions, they also agreed with Ziyun's actions. After all, even though they are separated, Ziyun also has many powerful companions by his side, so Drake and the others can leave temporarily with peace of mind. Although Spartacus also wanted to stay, but Ziyun agreed to let him make a big fuss when he arrived at Mary Joa, where the Tanlong people gathered. In Spartacus' heart, the celestial dragons are absolute oppressors, and Spartacus is still very excited to be able to resist them in the future. Okay, since everyone agrees, let's act. Otherwise, it's not good for those guys to just return. Ziyun clapped his hands and said, this time, people in this world can also see the strength of our three kings. Then, Yun, let's leave RST. Drake stood up, waiting to hear about your victory. Of course, soon, people in this world will realize the strength of my king of heroes. Gilgamesh said proudly. Well, can I stay by your side? Robin walked up to Ziyun. If possible, I want to act together with you. Don't worry, I won't get in your way. Although Ziyun was remembered to collide with people from the Navy and the world government, Robin would rather stay with Ziyun, who had saved him, than stay on there. Golden Deer. Is that okay? Wait, we are going to GHD the Navy and the others. Ziyun stared at Robin and said. Robin shook his head, walked behind Ziyun, thought about Ziyun and nodded. Seeing Robin's appearance, Ziyun didn't say anything more. In his heart, even if Robin stays by his side, he still has the ability to protect Robin in the next battle. Therefore, Robin's action was also acquiesced. Soon, Drake and others took action, and accompanied by Ziyun, they drove the Golden Deer slowly away from Duel Island. What? Tsunade collapsed on the recliner, looking helpless. I really envy those guys who can stay by Yun's side. I really want to stay too. If you want to, you can bring it up. Drake looked at Tsunade amusedly. If you propose it, I think Ziyun will agree. He usually enjoys your massage very much. I also respect the decision of the Cloud. Tsunade turned around. Plus, we won't be meeting each other for long anyway, so I didn't say anything. But when it was time to leave, I suddenly felt very uncomfortable. You better be patient. Drake shook his head. Look at Spartacus. He has endured it. Tsunade looked at Spartacus at the side, only to see that he was constantly lifting heavy dumbbells, venting his energy. Well, this guy is trying to divert his attention in this way. Tsunade twitched the corners of his mouth when he saw Spartacus sweating with a smile on his face. The master didn't take him with him, probably because he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold back after getting. After all, there are still objects in the Navy team that the master doesn't want to kill. Ymir shook his head. Forget it, I'll go practice with Spartacus. Since I'm a companion, I'll help him distract himself. Then you have to be careful. Dyer folded his hands and said with a smile, don't accidentally provoke him, and he will kill you. Page 136. That's not enough. Ymir projected the General Moxie, as a servant summoned by the master. Even he will not retain his consciousness when facing his companions. Otherwise, I really dare not practice against him. Hey, come back and GHT, don't destroy my Golden Deer. Drake said with a smile, if you really want to make a big fuss, go GHD in your inherent barrier. Do not worry. Ymir waved his hand behind him. Come on, my best friend. Drake and the others have gone far. Gilgamesh patted Ziyun's shoulder. Next, we just need to wait quietly. Ziyun nodded, and took the lead to walk towards the castle. The news of Drake and the others' departure should be reported to the world government by the people of the world government on the island soon. Robin followed Ziyun closely. Don't we need to make some preparations? I don't think everyone present is not strong enough. After getting along with you for a while, I still know how powerful you are. However, the Navy and the world government are not weak either. Even if the 2-0 agents who came alone can no longer GHT, but after we spread our hands, can we really defeat them? Ziyun looked at the worried Robin, and patted her on the shoulder. Don't worry, Robin, you still don't understand our abilities enough. Even if it's just the rest of us, it's not enough for the rest of the encirclement and suppression forces to deal with. Do you see that Drake and the others simply left for the time being? It is precisely because they understand our strength that they feel at ease that we will stay. Even if we can't win, we have enough ways to get out. Whether it is the ability to Y or shift positions, it is all possible. However, such a thing as running away will never happen to us. Ziyun shook his head. Even if you want to escape, it's people from the Navy and the world government who will escape. After hearing Ziyun's words, Robin nodded. For this Ziyun who treats him extremely friendly, Robin still hopes that he will be safe and sound. Therefore, in Robin's heart, I very much hope that what Ziyun said can become true. 119. That's all I've seen. On the Navy's warship, Bruno told Garp and others what he saw about Ziyun and the battle between Semiramis and two top 0 agents. It's really scary. That Ziyun was originally a monster, and now a female pirate named Semiramis came out. This is really bad. Pelusilina touched his chin and said, after listening to Bruno's description, Garp, Zephyr and Zero's agents felt heavy in their hearts. That, from what I heard, that Semiramis doesn't seem to call himself a pirate. Bruno continued, she seems to be the empress of some country, and according to her, not all the people who come out of Blue Star are pirates. The woman said that even if she sailed with the Golden Deer, she is not a pirate. Is there a king in this Blue Star? Zephyr said solemnly, since you call yourself a king, then naturally you have a territory. Maybe we can enter their territory, so maybe we can enter the base camp of Blue Star. Perhaps in this way we will be able to eradicate this organization once and for all. But, the one, she said. Assyria. I don't know what kind of place this is. Bruno shook his head and said, which, can we discuss the matter of ending Blue Star's base camp later? Peluslino raised his hand. I want to ask, what should we do now? The former members of their Drake Pirates were already some monsters, and now there are some new ones, especially which Semiramis. His abilities are beyond the reach of 20 top agents. Now the strength of the opponent has become stronger, but our 2 high-level combat powers have just disappeared. Shall we go and arrest Xian and his gang next? Page 137. As he said that, Peluslino looked at Agent Zero, who lowered his head. If the strength of these 2 agents Zero is not that strong, maybe the opponent's strength is not very strong either. May I ask if your strength is really as strong as that of the Admiral? What do you mean, Yellow Ape? The agent looked at Peluslino gloomily. Are you doubting our strength? It's terrible. Rubbing his chin, Peluslino said, I just hope Xian's strength is not so strong, otherwise, I don't want to GHD them with the current manpower. You bastard. Hearing Peluslino's words, the agent's whole body began to be covered with ice, and his body gradually transformed into the shape of a lion. Okay, Yellow Ape. You stop talking. Zephyr looked at Peluslino with dissatisfaction. In the current situation, we shouldn't cause internal strife. Please don't be angry. Although Zephyr spoke to Agent Zero politely, and stood in front of Agent Zero, his hands turned black because of the domineering arm color. Although Zephyr doesn't like Peluslino very much, he doesn't want to have internal strife in their team at this time. Therefore, even if he did it himself, he would have to stop the Zero agent who is about to make a move. Pulpaboo, boo-boo. Just as Zephyr was confronting it, the agent's phone bug rang. Gong frowned, dispelled the cold ice from his body, and transformed into a human form. This phone bug can only be called by his superiors, so even if he is dissatisfied with Peluslino, he can only answer this call. RST. Hi, what's the matter? This is wuxiap. The voice of the blonde wuxiap came from the phone bug. This is Agent Zero's code number. May I ask what's the matter for Mr. wuxiap? Hearing the voice of the blonde Vold Stars, voice immediately. Stand up. We have heard the report from the undercover agent on the island about the RST and second incidents. Your plan to capture Xian alone this time has failed. Hearing wuxiap's words, the agent was silent, not knowing how to answer. 5 Old Stars, what instructions do you have next? Zephyr stepped forward. Since you know what happened, you must also know that with our remaining combat power, we may not be able to defeat Xian and his group. So, what do we do next? The action remains the same, and you will continue to act as usual. The blonde Vold Star said. Zephyr frowned. But, it is precisely because of the strength of Xian and his group that we believe that now's their best time to catch Xian. The blonde-haired Vold Stars interrupted Zephyr's words. There are more and more Blue Star members around Xian now. If we continue to increase the number of people in the future, it will be even more difficult for us to deal with them. And, according to the report from the agents on Dual Island, that the Drake Pirates have left the island. Now the remaining Blue Star members on the island are only that the leader of Blue Star, Xian, Minamoto Reimitsu, Scheherazade, Semiramis and others, Li Shuwen who defeated Garp, and the mysterious blonde man who defeated a top Zero agent, and 2 senior agents also left the island. There are not many people around Xian now, even if his strength is not as weak as in their report. With your current combat strength, you can easily catch him. By capturing Xian, we will be able to get information about Blue Star, so your actions must continue. But why did most of the Drake Pirates leave? Isn't Xian their leader? Zephyr asked suspiciously. Maybe it's that Xian is tired of life at sea, so he let his subordinates go sailing by themselves, perhaps to consolidate his newfound territory. The blonde Vold Stars said. But no matter what is the reason, now is a great opportunity for us. Therefore, under the orders of the world government, you must catch Xian in this operation. As for the others, kill them all. Yes, Master wuxiap, we must complete the task. Page 138. When the agent heard wuxiap's order, he quickly replied. 120. Well, hope to hear good news from you. Also, if you have time, let's deal with Spandam and Nine's agents. By the way, since they did something wrong, they have to take responsibility. Need a new one. After Nishing speaking, the blonde wuxiap hung up the phone. Hearing wuxiap's words, Bruno, who had been silent at the side, broke into a cold sweat. Instantly, immediately opened an air door, wanting to leave here. But when he just rushed to the door of the air door, the palm of his hand pressed hard on his shoulder, making him unable to move. Where do you want to go? The agent looked at Bruno gloomily. Since Wu Loxing gave the order, then you can stay here. After Nishing speaking, the agent slammed his ST hard on Bruno's head. Boom! A loud voice exploded in Bruno's ear. Garp! You bastard! Suppressing his anger, he growled at Garp, who blocked his ST with his palm. Haha, we are about to GHT Ziyan and his companions. At this time, don't do anything that affects morale. Garp laughed and said, besides, Wu Loxing said to deal with it, but he didn't say that he must be killed. You can lock him up RST, and it won't be too late to think about how to deal with it later. The worker twitched his street, seeing Garp clenched it tightly and not letting go. He sighed. You guys, use Hyalu Stone to lock up this 9 agent. The compromised Agent Zero said to the soldiers of the world government behind him. Now, you can let go of me. The agent turned to look at Garp. Haha, never mind. Haha. Seeing Bruno being taken away by Hai Laoshi in handcuffs, Garp laughed and let go of Agent Zero. You heard it just now. The main personnel of the Drake pirates have left that island. Now is our chance. The agent rubbed his ST and looked at Zephyr and the others. So, I think we're right now. It's better to go to Dual Island, in case something bad happens later. It's so strange, that Ziyan would keep so few people by his side. Zephyr lowered his head and pondered, could it be, this is just Ziyan's conspiracy? Well, Zephyr, I don't want to hear from you anymore. The agent waved his hand. The 5 old stars have issued an order, even your Marshal Zan Go must obey. Are you unwilling to obey? Zephyr frowned. Nelly shook his head and walked towards the cabin. Now that he knew, they must go back to contact Ziyan, so he planned to rest and get ready to GHT. Since there are doubts about Ziyan staying alone, and they have to go, he can only make their most complete preparations. Soon, after receiving the special order from Zero, the 8 began to march towards Dual Island. In order to prevent Drake and others on the Golden Deer from rushing back to support Zut, their army and people from the world government decided to quickly go to Dual Island to arrest Zut Yan. As night falls, the sky is full of stars, and the night wind blows tightly on the sea. Now, the residents of Dual Island have already extinguished their lights and entered their dreams. The warships of the Navy and the world government sailed very fast, and at night, they had already arrived at an uninhabited port on Dual Island. The agents on the island have reported it to me. Page 139. The agent said to Garp and the others who were walking beside him, Ziyan and his companions haven't come out since they entered the castle. What we have to do now is to rush towards the castle quickly, and capture them quickly before they react. After speaking, the agent hurried towards the castle. Garp and Zephyr followed closely behind. Pelusilino shook his head, thinking to himself, I'm sorry everyone, but Marshal Ziyan already knew you were coming. You are doomed to fail in this operation. In the castle on Dual Island, Ziyan, who was lying on Minamoto Reimiko's knee pillow, opened his eyes lightly. It's Nali here. Ziyan, who has been monitoring the surroundings of the island with telekinetic power, found them when the Navy and world government people landed on the island. When he saw them coming directly towards his direction, he was not so anxious to deal with them. After all, Minamoto's knee pillow is still very attractive. How about it, dear Yun? Minamoto Reimitsu looked down at Ziyan. My knee pillow is not bad. This one is called Minamoto knee pillow. It must still be very comfortable. After Nishing speaking, Minamoto Larimitsu gently helped Ziyan's Liu Hai. Of course, Raiko. Ziyan turned over and let himself lie more comfortably on Minamoto's knee pillow. To be honest, I still hope that the Navy and world government guys can come here later. In this way, I can lie on your soft lap for a while longer. Hee. As long as you are willing, I'm willing to offer my thigh at any time. Lai Guang said affectionately, not just my thighs, no matter which part of my body, I would like to dedicate it to you, because everything about me is yours. Thank you, Raikou. I'll ask you to continue after that. As he spoke, Ziyan got up slowly. Those guys are coming soon. Anyway, don't let it. They're destroying my castle, so we'll go out and meet them. Since my best friend's enemies are here, even though they are just a bunch of bastards, for their sake of my best friend, I'd better teach them a little lesson. Gilgamesh stood up, shaking his glass of wine. It's Nali here. Get rid of them quickly and rest well. Staying up late is not good for a woman. Semiramis touched his face and said, Are the enemies coming? Artoria, who was holding a cool cake in her hand, looked at Ziyan suspiciously, then quickly stuffed the cake into her mouth, and stood up. Okay, the energy has been replenished, and the next step is to carry out the mission of their cloud. Artoria called out her own armor, and said, holding the sword of the sworn victory that concealed the blade. Ziyan looked around at the companions standing around, smiled and said, Then, everyone, let's show the power of our blue star to the world again. 121. Everyone cheer up. After the duel in front of the castle, Zephyr said seriously to the subordinates behind him, I'm about to get in touch with Ziyan and his group. Although not all of them are here, their strength should not be underestimated. Garp, Kizaru, you have all fought Ziyan, So I hope you two can mainly deal with Ziyun. The rest of us will give you a chance. Although I want to do this, but that Ziyun has the ability to pull people into different dimensions. Garp shook his head. If he brings other people to the world of swords, even if I want to support them, it will be impossible. Then don't give him a chance to use that ability. The agent stepped forward. According to your information, whether it's him or that Emir Shiru will say something RST when using that ability. As long as he is not allowed to read those words, he will definitely not be able to use that ability. Garp nodded. Yellow Monkey, you are the fastest, and when they start to attack, you will quickly go up and hold them back. All right. Peluslino spread his hands. You have the null say. Seeing that Peluslino agreed, Garp nodded in satisfaction. Page 140. Just when Garp was about to say something, he keenly felt a gear approaching them quickly. Garp turned round, with arm domineering in his hands. He punched the gear approaching. Rapidly, boom. A huge sound erupted along with the collision. A violent gust of wind spread from Garp and the mysterious gear to the surroundings. In an instant, Hi and the others, who were already very vigilant, became serious. You are looking at the blonde woman who blocked her ST with something transparent, Garp asked. Seriously, are you also Ziyun's partner? And, the invisible weapon, what exactly are you hiding? Who knows, it may be a sword, or it may be an axe, you can guess for yourself. Artoria looked at the serious Garp, and smiled softly. Also, I am the king of the British Kingdom, king of knights, King Arthur. Artoria Pendragon, please give me your advice. Garp, the hero of the Navy. This time, let me be your opponent. Damn it, that Ziyun has other new companions beside him. What are those intelligence personnel doing? Zephyr roared angrily, and then rushed towards Artoria, wanting to kill an enemy quickly. Zephyr had just started when two golden spears blocked his footsteps. Hee, ha, bastards, let my hero King Gilgamesh be your opponent. Enemy, ha. On the wall of the castle, Gilgamesh in golden armor looked down at the Navy and the others, and said, damn it, it's a new guy. Gilgamesh, who was trying to stop him, said dissatisfiedly, what are the agents on this island doing? There are two more living people around Ziyun, can't they? It's just a bastard, who'll give you your head and look up to me. Seeing Zephyr staring at him, Gilgamesh said dissatisfiedly. Immediately, dozens of gold coins appeared behind him. Color ripples, swords and weapons shining with golden light began to appear slowly from there. Golden light. This is. Zephyr was surprised by the golden ripples behind Gilgamesh. Among the information, that Ziyun has used such abilities against those two top agents of Zero, plus he can also use Amiyashiro and Li Shuwen's abilities. Isn't that will the guy use the tricks of all his companions? Not waiting, Zephyr continued to think, and the treasure of Gilgamesh had appeared in front of him. Zephyr quickly backed away, trying to avoid being touched by Gilgamesh's noble phantasm. In the battle between Agent Zero and Ziyun, one of the top agents was wounded by these weapons, and Zephyr didn't want to be in contact with these seemingly dangerous weapons. Oh, go to the bastard, the speed is quite fast. Gilgamesh folded his hands on his chest. Well then, following Gilgamesh's words, the night was illuminated by golden ripples all over the sky, and treasures were protruded out of it, some of which were extremely dangerous. What is this? How to GHD this? The soldiers of the Navy and the world government all opened their mouths at the sight of the golden weapons lighting up the night sky. Damn it, we must do something about this shining golden guy RST, otherwise, the soldiers will be miserable. Garp roared anxiously, and wanted to push back Archeria who was struggling with him, and attacked Gilgamesh RST. Iron Fist. Garp didn't hold back his hand, and swung his ST at Artoria with all his strength. Garp is content that even if such a blow can't defeat Artoria, it can make her retreat temporarily. After all, Garp once used such an attack to dented the head of King Jiao, the commander of their 8 Treasures Navy. Seeing Garp's powerful blow, Archeria smiled contently, raised the sword and pointed it at Garp's street. The wind around the sword began to swirl violently around the sword. Wind King Hammer. Following Artoria's shout, a violent storm of magic power collided with Garp's street. The soldiers who originally wanted to come to support Garp were suddenly staggered by their violent wind. Damn it, the yellow ape still has that Zero guy. Hurry up and knock down that glittery guy. Seeing that his full blow was also resisted by Artoria, Garp realized that this was not an opponent he could get rid of in a short time, and now he couldn't spare a hand to deal with Gilgamesh on the city wall. So I had no choice but to hope to be with Agent Zero and them. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, where you can find advanced audiobooks that hasn't been uploaded on YouTube till now. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.